welcome, Sister Sharon. How are you? Welcome.
Excellent.
Listen, guys, we thank you for tuning into Speak Harmony, yet another episode of our Speak Harmony show. We are just here excited about what we have to offer you today, especially. And guess what? It's fall. Guys, I mean, the favorite season of the year, and tomorrow starts that favorite and the best month of the year.
Hint, I wonder why.
October, fall, beautiful weather. So we're live in the studio here. We're live on YouTube, guys. We're here with some amazing people. Sister Sharon,
yes.
amazing folks right tonight. We're blessed to have these people. But we want to shout out APAT Media because guess what? Without APAT Media, there's no Speak Harmony. So, Mr. P, we thank you and APAT Media for being an amazing sponsor to us. Guys, APAT Media is the way to go because they do production. They do that full service media, multi-camera recording, video, and live streaming. This is what they have to offer in this beautiful space. You can reach them at 470-657-1998. And you can also email them at info@apapmedia.com. That's A as in action, P as in production, A as in always, and P as in perfection. That's right. You get it here. Perfection. It's what Mr. P's about. So that's info@apapmedia.com. Guys, wow, what a show. Listen, Sister Sharon, I know you've got some beautiful stuff lined up for us because you went to a special event today. And tell us all about that.
So thank you, Dr. Sharon, the Heart Lady here with Sharon Thompson, the Sister Connector, as I call her. Okay, so first I want to give some informal fun days. Did you know that this is National AI in Work Day? It's a day that acknowledges the role of artificial intelligence in the workplace.
Interesting.
And also, it's National Love People Day.
Ooh.
Yes, it's an occasion to inspire and support others with unconditional love, which is very fitting because today I was at Emory University and they had what they call their Compassion Shift Global Launch. And it's a center for contemplative science and compassion-based evidence ethics. And so this was just a wonderful all-day conference, panels and noted guests that our audience may be more familiar with because the other guests, I apologize, but I can't pronounce their names. But the other guest that you will recognize is Richard Gere. He is a Buddhist for over 20 years. And you may also recognize Dr. Daniel.
Daniel Amen. Yeah.
No, not him, but Goldman. He's the one who did the author of Emotional Intelligence. But what was fantastic about this, they were talking about how compassion can change the world. They are teaching what they have called CSEE learning. And the S is social, emotional, and ethical learning. And they are in 26 countries, is translated in over 15 languages. And they go in these countries and they have a curriculum that teaches how to have compassion first with self and others. And then they also had a scientist on there that talked about they have had science-based evidence that they recognize that when you give more, even the recipient, but when you give more than you receive, the giver, their brain lights up and they get more. It's like, to me, it's like more of a dopamine rush.
It does.
But when you give, there is definite physiological benefits over when you receive. And so, it's just it's a 2-day event. I can't wait to go back tomorrow. But when I tell you, check it out at Emory University. Again, it's called Compassion Shift global launch. And it's at Emory University. And I just tell you, I was filled with compassion. I took away a lot of gems. So we'll talk about that a little later.
I love that. And I love that she said compassion, because you know what you shared there, Sharon, is even in hugging, in connecting with people.
Yes.
A lot of times we don't realize that giving of love, when you greet someone, when someone hugs you, you can literally feel the transfer.
That's right.
Of compassion. It's almost
It's
tangible.
Energy. It's energy.
It's energy. And people don't understand that. You know, when we talk about energy, they think it's, ooh, oh my God, it's Halloween and it's all this superficial craziness. But it is energy that we're exchanging. So there's good energy and there's bad energy.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have to be so cautious and, you know, and be intentional, though. I like what you, I'm so excited about compassion.
What? Yeah. And today is the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday today. So everything is just really
lined
fitting.
up.
And one gem that I took away
everything.
was we can either live together with conflict and competition or cooperation and compassion.
High five. That's what we do here. When I tell you, we do that right here on this platform.
That's right.
That's why we speak harmony, because we believe in compassion, we believe in collaboration, we believe in coming together, because there's competition. But when we look in that mirror, we compete with self. We say, self, you did this today, but I know your potential. Tomorrow, we're going for that. And that's what you do. You compete with self. That's how we get better.
That's it.
So we're not going to waste any
more time, but we have to talk about that.
We have to talk about that because that was important, and I love it. So now it's compassion. Oh, I love this.
So we're going to share the love and compassion with our guests?
With our guests, absolutely. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're tuned in, so we want you to like, subscribe, share, view, keep sharing, share, comment, because listen, this is what we're here to do every week. So our first guest of the evening, drum roll, we've got Dr. Paul Dabney. So Dr. Paul Dabney practices naturopathic, holistic, and integrative medicine. Yes, guys, natural, offering services in Decatur, Georgia, right here in Decatur, Georgia. Via his clinic, Central for Natural Health and Optimal Wealth, LLC. You will see it up on the screen in a minute, but he holds his credentials include the NMD, which is a naturopathic medical doctor, MPH, MED, the PhD. He's whole 9 yards. But let me tell you, he's got a lineup of accolades here and letters behind his name. His education is extensive, but I am not going to bore you with anything else because we want to jump into the meat of the matter. There's a lot of information that we're going to be sharing. He's going to be sharing with you, and I don't want to deprive you. You can research him. Without further ado, Dr. Dabney, we welcome you to Speak Harmony, sir. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very well. Thank you for having me. It's been a blessing and an honor to be here. Just like you talking about harmony, keeping things in balance, which is great.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about prostate cancer. So we understand that African-American males and Jamaicans have a high percentage of prostate. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is something that really is very concerning. It should be concerning for everyone. And if you don't know this is very good statistical information. Prostate cancer among the general population is fourth in the world, which that means just men in general. But the staggering or scary part is that the Jamaican males have the highest mortality rate and the highest rate of incidence of prostate cancer in the world. When they get prostate cancer, it's usually very fatal, and if it's not fatal, they usually have a very aggressive prostate cancer. But the thing is that looking at the research, when I start digging into trying to find out exactly why, epidemiological information says that it could be stemming from them not going to the doctor, or social injustice, not being treated fairly, or scared of the medical community, or scared of the government. What else? There was another one.
Scared of the exam?
Scared of, that's another thing. That's what I was saying, that the myths that surround, or the stigmatism that surround when they given a digital exam to determine how large the prostate is. And most people don't want to do that. So they don't want to go into the doctor. And most males, for some reason, don't go. And when they don't go, they don't get checked. And when I actually see them, 'cause I see a lot of prostate, I have a lot of prostate patients, usually their wives or significant others or girlfriends, whoever's basically dragging them in to be evaluated or to look at their labs or stuff like that. So the information it's not good, and I think that things can be better if more people are made aware of some of the different things I'm going to be talking about this evening.
Okay. Well, enlighten us. Go ahead.
Okay. So, for example, from what I found, that the information I just gave you, the digital exam, they're afraid of that, or they don't want to go to the doctor. Those statistically, they say that they're inconclusive, mean that statistically they don't meet the value. It's called the p-value. It's very, very low, or it's weak at best. But what they did find out was this, two things, there's two factors. One of them would be low vitamin D and a genetic mutation. Matter of fact, there's at least two in particular. This one is called VDR, which is the vitamin D receptor, and I'll explain that in a minute what that is. And there's one is the BRCA1 and the BRCA2 gene mutations in that. So,
that's, Dr. P. Paul, that BRCA1, BRCA2, we hear most commonly for those who have breast cancer.
yes, that was the most interesting part, is that the BRCA1 and BRCA2 are associated with breast cancer and ovarian cancer, if I remember correctly. But prostate cancer is on the list, but no one doesn't talk about that. It's always associated with when here they associate it with females. But low vitamin D and the mutations between those, that's at least two that actually can create a problem with the setting up the prostate cancer. And what actually happens is vitamin D is low among anybody, is because they're not getting out in the sun enough. Well, let's step back a little bit. Let's look at what vitamin D actually does. Okay, so if your vitamin D is functioning normally, you're out there in the sun, you're eating foods high in vitamin D, or you're taking supplements with vitamin D, and those different vitamin, forms of vitamin D have not been activated. They're inactive. So when you go to the doctor and they test your vitamin D, it's the inactive form. But that vitamin D has to be activated. And how they're activated is through magnesium, zinc, and magnesium and zinc are the main ones that activate vitamin D. Oh, I forgot, B6. So once vitamin D is activated, it's transported to the VDR, which I was telling you about. Once they connect, it's a link up. Vitamin D and the receptor link up, and when that happens, there's a signal, a cell-to-cell communication that actually tells the body to increase the immune system, control how the cells perform. They're going to get, the rate of the cell growth. Controls it modulates the immune system. I mean, it does a whole bunch of other different things. It's all of your body. So each of the organs have a function that vitamin D kind of dictates. So once that happens, another signal sent out to the BRCA1 and BRCA2. The BRCA1 and BRCA2, normally they control, in this case, the prostate. It controls the the prostate health, how healthy the prostate is. It controls the cells of the prostate, pretty much telling the prostate what to do, how to do it. Sadly, once vitamin D is low, the communication is broken. So that means that vitamin D, the VDR, doesn't send a signal out because there's not enough vitamin D to do it. BRCA1 and BRCA2 is supposed to amplify the effects of vitamin D as far as maintaining the health of the prostate. That's lost. So that gives ground for any other irregular growth. There's no control. It does whatever it wants to do.
So I have a question. Since
Yes,
you
ma'am.
said lost, and that just broke my heart when you said that, because lost mean gone, ship sailed. Because, I mean, there's no way of coming back. In other words, if I decide, I'm saying, here it is, we realize that you're diagnosed with this, and if you try to say, up your vitamin D, supplements, intake, and sort of try to freeze that clock for a minute. Is there any such thing? I mean, can you? And I know you do integrative medicine.
Right.
I know you're deep within that space, but is there any possibility of, have you ever seen in your practice, because you've been doing this for a minute,
Well, I've
have you
seen
any
as far as
regeneration, I mean.
Okay, so I've
any
worked
hope?
with a lot of people males that have inactive prostate cancer, but also work with other people who have different forms of cancer. And one of the things that I do a lot of different things, but one of the things I have done is I always try to make sure that their vitamin D levels are up. Because when you go to the doctor, there's a range. Mm-hmm. The range is 30, which is the minimum. That's the bare minimum, and I think it goes all the way up to 100. Most people who have cancer, they're going through chemo, they're sick, their vitamin D levels are going down because they're not eating. They're not definitely are not sitting out in the sun most of the time if they're really sick. So their vitamin D levels go off the grid. Not by choice, it's just the nature of the beast. So what I do is when I get their labs, I look at it, and the doctor says, "Oh, you're normal. You could be like 40." Like that's not normal. That's a low normal. It's still low, but they classify it still within normal range, right? Mm-hmm. So what I do is I bring their values up, and there is a way to do it. One of the ways to get good sleep. What does sleep got to do with vitamin D? It has to do with the cortisol. So your adrenal glands, remember the stress, cortisol is a stress hormone. Once you are sleeping, your cortisol levels are supposed to be down. And cortisol, as you get up in the morning, the cortisol levels go up. Mm-hmm. If you're up and doing other different things, you're not sleeping, you're not resting, the body can't clean itself, it can't heal. Right. So the main thing is cortisol does two nasty things. It stops the activation. There's the enzyme that actually is released in part of that blocks the activation portion. So vitamin D gets shut off. The remaining part is that it blocks the VDR receptor, so the vitamin D can't attach. The remaining portion can't attach. So there goes the communication. There goes the signal that's gone. So to get around that, get your cortisol levels down. And the way to get them down is to bring your vitamin D levels up. Okay. It kind of makes sense once you kind of explain it. Right. One, get the activation system in check. Your magnesium, your zinc, your B6, making sure that those are adequate.
What about adding potassium, K2?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so before I get into that, another thing that actually causes this rapid growth of prostate cancer is uncontrolled or high levels of calcium. Wow. High levels of calcium. Now, remember this, the vitamin D regulates calcium coming into the body. It says, okay, it comes in, it regulates, it brings it in. Mm-hmm. Without vitamin D, your calcium levels go down, okay? But what the body does is we've got to have the calcium. Okay. So it starts pulling calcium from your bones and your teeth. Now, right. It compensates. Yes. I need this, so I got to have it. So K2, what K2 does, it actually takes the calcium and controls it. It controls it along with magnesium. So what they do is it keeps calcium out of the where it's not supposed to be. It controls it. It puts it back in.
Okay.
Here's the sad part. Once calcium levels go up, that actually can be a stimulus for cancer cells to grow.
Oh my
So that's one of the, so
Yeah.
remember the important thing. Remember, everything is regulated.
Yeah. Of course.
So it's a negative feedback. High levels of calcium shut off vitamin D
Oh, so you,
because we don't need it. If it's too high, vitamin D
Right.
goes, well, I don't need to be bringing in more from the diet.
Right.
So everything kind of shuts down. The activation part shuts down, and it doesn't do it. We don't need it. You have too much calcium.
so all of these levels are tested for
That's my
for
next
the
question.
prostate
Yes.
cancer, and you take all of those things into consideration. Okay.
Most of the time where a person has prostate, they monitor the PSA, the prostate
Right.
surface antigen. They monitor that. They monitor inflammation. There's a C-reactive protein. Right. Can't even talk. C-reactive protein. They monitor that, but I look at those labs, but when I'm not their primary care provider. I'm just working with these individuals,
Conjunction with
right?
them, yeah.
And I say we've got to get these levels up. Now, one thing I have seen a lot of the times, not all of them, but their calcium levels are up because of the low vitamin D that's there, and the body is kind of compensate for that. And that's controlled, by the parathyroid. That actually controls the activation part too. So the only thing I'm saying is if you want to control vitamin D, there's different ways of doing it, of factoring things in.
So what would you say are some other particularly dietary approaches that can be done in order to even prevent or have it?
That's fair.
maintained?
One thing in particular is that a lot of you may have heard of resveratrol.
Yes.
You've heard of, okay, so it's a very popular,
Yeah.
very popular.
Yeah.
It actually is a helps with not just prostate cancer, but it also works with other cancers as well. It's a very good antioxidant, but it also, what it does, it actually helps with the, let me back up a bit. So let's say, for example, prostate cancer is very rapidly growing. And when something's rapidly growing, sometimes it can't keep up with itself, and it tries to keep up. A lot of the times, the DNA becomes damaged, or the cells are damaged, and they can't repair themselves. Resveratrol comes in and disrupts that. It actually forces the cell to break down and destroy itself. Now, it's called a PARP, P-A-R-P. It's a long chemical name, don't worry, but it's an inhibitor. Cancer oncologists use synthetic PARP inhibitors to do the same thing. It basically breaks up the DNA. This DNA can't repair itself, and once it does that, the downside of that part is some of the prostate cancer become resistant to that.
Is that because maybe they're having other drugs, or
It could be having other drugs, or they're finding another way to get around it. They want to survive like we do, so they find different ways.
Of course.
Now, if you take and they've done studies on this, so it does work. They take a natural PARP, P-A-R-P, natural, that would be your quercetin, or bioflavonoids,
and where do we get those from?
You could get those from from fruits. A lot of fruits and vegetables. Resveratrol's found a lot of them in grapes. And red wine.
Yes.
Okay, but it's found.
Yeah.
But I've used resveratrol as a primary way to not just prostate, but help with reducing the inflammation, controlling the cancer rate, and have gotten some, pretty good, results. But it works. But it's a combination between a cancer treatment and a natural approach. They've done studies of them. I've looked at the studies. But the problem is, most conventional doctors have not really engaged that. They stick with their methods until their cancer becomes resistant, and now they're scampering around trying to find another way to control it. And if they can't, they're left with other hazardous means, to try to get it under control.
So is there any prevention? I'm sorry.
Yes,
Jen.
yes,
Is
yes.
there any prevention that men can do to prevent that?
right.
I know
Good.
that you said there are genetic mutations, so that might be harder to control.
Right, that would
But
be
the vitamin D levels, as you were talking about, is there anything else that American males and Jamaican men in particular can do to help prevent it? Specifically, what if it's in their families?
Okay, so that's very good. If there's a history
Yes,
of prostate cancer.
What age would you
Right.
say?
So
Yeah.
let's look at it from
Looking out
the
for that.
general public, just people in general. It's 50 years old is what they're supposed to be when you're supposed to get your first prostate exam. Some people don't have never gotten them. I've gotten some people that are in their 60s and 70s who've never had one. I said, no, it's not a pleasant thing, but you really should have it. But for now, they've changed the standards for people who have a history of prostate cancer or African American men, or this could go across for Jamaican men as well. 40 to 45. Catch it early.
Yes.
Catch it early if you can. You now you get them in.
So it's being a
Right.
little proactive.
Right. Getting more proactive. One of them, like I said, that's one of them, is to make sure you look out for certain symptoms.
Like?
Okay, so a lot of the times with prostate cancer, a lot of times it's very subtle. You don't have it; it's not a problem at all. As the prostate gets inflamed, it naturally gets bigger. Getting the PSA levels checked, as well as a digital one, just to see how big it is. You may have a problem with erectile dysfunction. You may have problems with urination. Your stream of urine is not as strong. It's I call it like Morse code. It's stop and start, stop and start. It's not a very strong stream.
Okay.
Then there's the other one that could be blood in the semen and blood in the urine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that late stage? I mean, or?
That probably would be late stage, because now you've got blood, and the
Right.
blood is coming from the inflamed tissue, where there's tissue damage. Maybe it's coming from the invasion of the cancer cells that going beyond the prostate. That's a possibility.
Thank you. So we've got, as usual, we've got some really amazing supporters. Our viewers. We want to thank Sharika. I mean, you're our main sweetheart.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. She says essential information, and thank you so much, Speak Harmony, and to you, Doc. In view of time, gosh, this is the kind of stuff where we really want to spend more time with this, because it's so essential. A lot of our men, and we're going to ask you to tell our men, just speak to our men, because we do it. But when we tell them, brother, my husband, my significant other, my whatever, our sons, whatever, our cousins, our male figures, they don't listen. They just tune us out. And they're like, we're good. I don't feel sick. I'm good. But, honestly, because time is of the essence, we want to have folks to find you, locate you, get to connect with you so they can get checked. But not only that, we want you to tell those folks that are watching us right now, what are the essentials, and tell them how they can find you and all that good stuff, because we're pretty much out of time, unfortunately.
Okay, so I can be reached. My office number is 706-244-4948. That's my office number. I'm located in Decatur. I do telemedicine from people that really can't get out of the house for whatever reason, that just contact me. My email address is, this is old, so this is the one you can best to reach me. It's padab@aol.com. That's the best one that can be reached at.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I just have two important questions that I think will be very helpful to our viewers. For when we're doing the PSA, there are certain levels and ranges for that, is there?
Yeah, so
So I was just wanting to let our viewers know, what would you consider is in a good range, and what also would be in a good range for the vitamin D?
Oh, okay. So the PSA, it should be less than 1. It should be less than 1. If it starts creeping up less than 1, it starts getting bigger than 1, the doctor's definitely going to say, okay, it could be, don't panic, because it could be coming from inflammation. Some guys, they ride a bike, they ride a bicycle, a motorcycle, anything kind of sitting and riding, it kind of jolts them. That can create inflammation as well. Physical sports can do it. Infections, whether it's viral or bacterial infections, can cause it. So the main thing is getting that done. As far as your vitamin D levels go, they should be further away from 30. The maximum is I think about 100. You want to be at least 50 or 60 if you can get those levels up. But 30 is unacceptable. Anything below 30 is unacceptable. And there's ways of bringing it up. Even though you're taking vitamin D and doctors will put them on 50,000 used once a week, but their vitamin D levels don't go up.
Oh.
Now remember, it's a steroid. It's a hormone. Too much vitamin D, the body goes, too much. It shuts it off.
Got it. I just wanted to make sure.
I'm glad you brought that.
Because I thought that would be very
That's pretty cool.
informative.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
You ladies very much. Thank you for inviting me.
We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Now, gentlemen,
Get checked.
okay? Get checked. We
and
love
I understand that they're going to have some other laser or other ways rather than
Invasive.
Invasive.
They're less invasive. I don't know much about this. I just know the way that they have it now is, well, it's okay.
You know what?
Thank you. All right.
Yes, we're
We'll
excited.
be right back.
Yes, we'll be definitely back. Dr.
Part 2 is coming up.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
That would be great. It was a bunch of fun. I've gone over this stuff and rehearsed it, and I'm like, but it's just like anything else. You know the material.
Yes.
People ask questions, and I do this every day. And my wife was like, "What do you got the notes for?" I said, "I'm just trying to make sure but you talk all the time."
I know.
And I was like, yeah. But it's once I feel very strongly about something, I get really upset about it because I see them when they're on their downside.
I know.
And I was like, why are you not doing it? And you talk to the doctor, they got these protocols that they follow.
We
and stuff.
thank you that you're part of the complimentary and that you're, as a consultant, people can go and see you and get some other advice as well.
Yeah.
So come back and see us soon.
I got a card.
All right.
Yes, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
folks, we're going to have
you're
another
next.
guest, so stay tuned.
Yes.
Talking, October's coming up. That is Cancer Month.
Yes.
Or particularly breast cancer. However, we are jump-starting it. And I have a long time colleague and friend. We were talking about it earlier when she came in, over 30 years. We don't like to admit it.
That's fine. That's fine.
But it's like, wow, when you know good people, you just know good people.
Yes.
But this sister here is such a thriver. She is a champion healthcare advocate.
Yes.
She is here to give her a little bit about her story, but it's just one of many that demonstrate the urgent need for health care, Medicaid expansion in particular. And there are thousands of Georgians that are just like Valerie's story, who we're going to get ready to meet.
In September 30th.
Really, yeah. And, you know, expanded Medicaid
Yes.
ensures that no one has to choose between their health and financial security.
Yes.
Isn't that something, Sharon?
Something is in America.
Yes.
In the great America.
So I'd love to introduce to you my colleague, my friend, this wonderful champion healthcare advocate with many awards, speaks about leukemia, speaks about the importance of understanding where you are and how to advocate for yourself. And so what can I say, Valerie? Valerie Green, welcome to Speak Harmony. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much, Sharon, for the invitation. It's
You're
just
welcome.
an honor to be able to be here with you. And I don't know if I can live up to those great accolades, but I'm going to do my absolute best. As Sharon said, my name is Valerie Green Taylor, and I live here in Georgia. And my story actually begins back in 2018. I was caring for my mom, who was living with an advanced rare form of dementia. And I was released from my job. It was kind of like the trifecta. And then, oh gosh, maybe 11 to 14 months later, I'm diagnosed with an aggressive acute form of leukemia called AML, acute myeloid leukemia. So if that wasn't bad enough, what I discovered at the time that I was ill was that I didn't have health insurance and that Georgia no longer had what's called safety net coverage. So how that actually played out, I got sick. I went to use my credit cards to go to the CVS because I didn't have health insurance. And that nurse practitioner said that I had sinusitis. And I was like, oh, okay. I hadn't felt well in several months. I was running 5 miles a day. I've never smoked, don't drink, didn't eat red meat. So I'm just like the uncancer, if there's such a thing.
Of course.
And she gave me antibiotics. By about the second day, I said, that's what it was. I had this undiagnosed infection. By day 3, I started to slip again and say, no, it wasn't that. I reached out to her again, and I said, I think I'm going to need another course of antibiotics. And she said, no, I can't give you any more. You have to see a doctor. Whip out the credit card again, and I go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he looks in my nose, and he says, we got to get this infection cleared up. And about 3 courses of antibiotics still didn't clear it. Finally, he gives me steroids. And I was like, but I yielded, took the steroids, and I came back, and he says, his words to me were, well, now we need to find out what his words, funky white tissue is. And I'm like, okay. So I'm a nurse by profession. And I'm like, well, I didn't like how that sounded. But he was like, we need to biopsy it. And I'm like, uh-oh. So remember, I don't have health insurance. Right. My credit limit wasn't that high. So unfortunately, the disease began to accelerate. And I began to I started to experience shortness of breath. And this particular day, I recall being at my mom's home, taking care of her, and the type of disease that she had robbed her of her speech. So I called a friend who was a registered nurse, and I'm like, hey, listen, if I stop talking, send the cavalry because I feel like I'm going to pass out. And fortunately, I didn't. And I immediately made an appointment with my primary care. And of course, as patients do, I was bargaining because I didn't have health insurance. And my question was, would you be willing to see me for a lab-only visit? And her nurse was like, well, Ms. Taylor, what are your symptoms? And I was like, well, I'm having a little short of breath. So I'm minimizing it. A little. Okay. And her nurse, yes, not quite, very astutely said, no, she's going to want to see you if you can't breathe. And to speed things along, they drew my blood. And literally April 5th of 2018, she called me back and she said, your blood pressure, your blood labs are just all over the place. You have to come back immediately. And it took me about 4 days to make arrangements for my mom to be somewhere and to get to the hospital. By that time, my hemoglobin was maybe a strong 4 out of a normal 14. Oh, yes. I was very sick. And I was grateful that the hospital system that accepted me without insurance did accept me. And they were trying to find coverage for me. They applied for Medicaid 4 times. I was told no 4 times in the hospital. Just imagine. And you're told that, you have a terminal illness. And so as a nurse, I knew this because I did home care. So I did community resource planning. I was the person that helped link patients to primary care or to specialized services or even Medicaid coverage. So 6 weeks later, my oncologist comes in and she sits next to me. And that's never a good thing when doctors sit next to you. So I'm packing because I'm so ready to go home. Had a lot of chemo and my hair was gone. I was thin. I was tired. But I was ready for the next steps. I was fortunate enough to gain remission. So she began to explain to me that the blood cancer that I had was very aggressive because I had multiple mutations, changes to the chromosomes that make it more aggressive.
That's you right there, huh?
And she said to me that it wasn't a matter of if it was going to come back, it was a matter of when. Right. And I had to have a bone marrow transplant. So like anyone, I was like, well, sign me up, And
look at your amazing
that's
son.
my baby, my son. So during all of this, I'm processing like, okay, then she says to me, but we can't do the transplant without a payer source. It's like $1 million without complications.
Wow.
So
Without complications.
Yes, I'm processing what she's saying to me, and I'm like, but I'm going home today. It's like, what do you mean? And she's like, yes, almost everyone gets coverage. So it's like, wow. So if you could imagine being discharged. And the hardest part for me, even every time I tell this story, is knowing that there was something that could be done, but I couldn't access it because of public policy. That was the part that was the hardest thing for me to reconcile. It was like
in America.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a healthcare person. I did everything right. I was financially responsible. I sent my kid to a state school, go tech. I did everything right. And it's like, what do you mean at my time of need that there is nothing? I fell into what was called the coverage gap. So because I had worked, I wasn't eligible for Medicaid. And under the Affordable Care Act, which incidentally, open enrollment, which is starting very soon in the next month or so, didn't open until October. I was sick in April. There was no special enrollment for terminal cancer. So I had to hope and pray that I live long enough to be able to enroll. And that's what saved my life, the Affordable Care Act. So I was able to obtain disability because I was very disabled. And the Affordable Care Act coverage was about $1,000 roughly a month. And the advanced premium tax credits is the mechanism that makes the insurance affordable. Thus, it's called the Affordable Care Act. So that reduced my monthly premium from like $1,000 a month to about $120, $117 a month. And I was able to get my bone marrow transplant. And you saw the pictures of my son.
He's the one who gave you the bone marrow.
He donated the stem cells, to Furry. And the thing is, why he volunteered, because the doctor had said I had a 6-month window before my remission would relapse. Right. And once you relapse, you can't get a transplant because you can't have active disease going on. Right. And unbeknownst to me, my son had gone to them. He knew. He was fully aware of the timetable that we were dealing with, and he volunteered. And no parent wants their child to go through pain or to deal with that. But I'm just so grateful for his courage and his generosity. And that's why I'm here with you today, and why I am so passionate. Actually, that whole experience galvanized me into becoming a healthcare advocate. I wanted the opportunity to sit across from lawmakers and to be the personification of these public policies. Like, hey, listen, and there were many times where I sat across just here at our state capitol, and I've had lawmakers say to me, but there was Medicaid. You could have gotten Medicaid. There was the Affordable Care Act. You could have gotten that. And as I explained to them how there are all these little compartmentalizations that prevent you from getting care, they're always shocked. Yeah. Like, oh, we need to fix this. I'm like, yes, we do. We certainly do. And Blood Cancer United gave me that platform to be able to tell my story both at the state level as well as at the federal level so that we can fix that. And we've had a lot of really great wins. The the previous administration was able to help in terms of Part D coverage for blood cancer patients. There's such a thing as called an oral parity when you have refractory disease where you relapse. And when those patients go to the pharmacy, their deductible was anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 per month for their drugs. And most of those blood cancer patients abandon therapy. Right. If they survive, they end up having to go through transplant again, or a lot of them just don't survive. So we were able to advocate, took quite a few years, to have the previous administration sign into law a law called cap and smoothing, where the amount that the patient would pay was capped at between $2,500 to $3,000. And the smoothing effect is that they would pay that amount in increments over the year. So instead of $25,000 and $30,000 a year, wow, it was much more attainable. So that those were the types of examples of how advocacy works.
So I have a question for you. Oh my God. I mean, I am very emotional right now because when I hear stuff like that, we're not responsible for us being ill for the most part. We are what we eat, as that saying says, but honestly, I don't think we are eating stuff that's whether we know we're doing it knowingly. We're not eating stuff going, yeah, it's going to cause cancer, it's going to cause whatever. And it's unfortunate that we live in one of the can I say that anymore? One of the greatest nations in the world, or used to be. And here we are with stories like yours. Yeah. And yours is one of survival and thriving. And thank God for your son. And, you advocating and having knowledge as a medical professional. But we're talking about people who are just out there, laymen, have no clue in that medical space, don't even have a car to drive. Moreover, to get a credit card to pay for a prescription. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To go to a doctor, to go to the next level, right here in the United States, the divided states of America. Yeah. And I make no apologies. Yeah. It's sad. It's really sad. And I'm thankful for advocates like you because, wow, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. It's really tough that we live in a space like this, and it's only getting worse because right now, what's about to happen is September.
Being threatened?
It is,
yes.
Isn't it?
So what's happening now, and the initiative that Blood Cancer United and grassroots advocates like myself, and we have a committee here. I'm actually the state chair for Volunteers for Blood Cancer United in Georgia, and start as of December 31st of 2025, that mechanism that I explained to you that allowed me to access life-saving treatment is in danger of expiring. And without that, just imagine the average Social Security or disability check is anywhere from $900 to $1,500 a month. And if your insurance is $1,000 a month, what do you have to live off of to pay for rent or mortgage or food for that matter? So what we are advocating for and asking is for folks to, we actually have an online petition that we have. I think there's a QR code that we've been sharing with the folks. And we're planning to ask as many people as possible to sign that petition. And our goal is to take it to our state U.S. Senators.
So that's both QR codes. So
yes, that's the QR code.
So if you're watching and you're going to rewatch, I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead and scan that QR code because we want you to sign the petition. We want you to join with our sister, our dear sister, to advocate for the other folks that are out there, that not if, but it's when, because it's going to happen. Exactly. We don't know what's out there. Yeah. And so that's what we're asking for, is to join forces with you.
Yes, and that is so true. I mean, right now, October 1st, the new premiums are going to go out. And, there are a lot of people that I talk to all the time, and they're like, well, I don't have the Affordable Care Act. But the reality is when people get sick, whether you have insurance or not, I'm testimony to that, you're going to go to the doctor. You're going to go to the hospital. So it's a domino effect. It affects everyone. So even if you're not receiving the Affordable Care Act advanced premium tax credits, your premiums certainly will go up exponentially just because of the fact that so many people will continue to use the hospital and the doctor, and then they won't be paid. Yeah. The other thing that we have to think about is the one big beautiful bill that was just passed with $1 trillion worth of Medicaid. So that alone was projecting about 17 million people losing coverage or access to care, and another, a total of $25 million if this ACA tax credit is not extended. Tends to be, the total, and we're looking at about 285,000 Georgians here that will fall into that coverage gap.
This is important. This is important to advocate for healthcare. And this is not just for the elderly, for our golden age, for our middle ages, for our it affects, cancer is not discriminatory. Right?
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Children.
Illness, that's right.
Everyone.
Tell us, Val, what was one of your most meaningful moments in advocacy?
Let's see. One of my most meaningful moments. Wow, there have been so many. Let's see.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I just really
Seriously.
want people to understand the power of advocacy and what it could do for them in their health. And so what maybe you have a story of someone who really benefited from hearing your story, or just really didn't understand the power to use their voice to speak up.
I get that. So because we talk to people across the country, and we are the organization brings advocates to DC, to the nation's capital, to speak to lawmakers. I think the very first time that I met Senator Ossoff and Senator Warnock, and to sit and speak to people that are responsible for making decisions in our lives, it was kind of a full circle moment. Like the day that I was discharged home, that I shared with you, and I sat there for like about a week. I'll be honest, I cried for a week because I was afraid. And then just because of the nature of who I am, I just made a decision. I'm not dying. What I'm going to do is, however long I'm going to be here, I'm going to turn this situation into purpose. And that's when I began to speak to the Blood Cancer United folks, just asking to get help about how to get insurance. I had gotten a quote for like $7,000 a month. Who has that? I certainly didn't, for real. Before the Affordable Care Act eligibility became that I became eligible. So I think just being able to turn the experience into purpose is what really helped me. And then there was a time where cancer takes so much from you, but it also gives you so much. And I often talk about the gifts that it gives you, this sense of priority. How it puts things in perspective, what's really important, what really matters, taking care of yourself, and
oh, wow, I love that. Look at the beautiful picture.
Yes.
And finding grace, for others and people with you. I have a wicked sense of humor. I honestly
she
do.
does.
And I often joke about that, because what I haven't shared with you to date is about 4.5 years into my cancer journey with the AML and then the bone marrow transplant. The first part of that, I was able to ride with the, at that time they were referred to as the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Now Blood Cancer United is our new name. And I wanted to give back, because there were patient services. They helped me pay premiums. They helped me with information. They have just all kinds of services for patients. They've donated billions of dollars toward research for new drugs. In fact, one of the drugs for one of the chromosomes that I had 7 for my leukemia, had just been approved by the FDA, I want to say that February, and I was diagnosed in April. So there's just so much in, being able to benefit from research, clinical trials, for people of color. It is a sore spot, and it's kind of scary, but it's also important, because for the sake of those people who were willing to take those drugs before I was diagnosed, I benefited from that. And 4.5 years in, I was sharing that I then was diagnosed, with metastatic breast cancer. So that was a shock. I wasn't really expecting that. And if you can believe that a person would have the same experience twice in a lifetime, yes, I did. I fell into the coverage gap for a second time because as I was recuperating and recovering from the leukemia, the transition was that, okay, well, you're not getting chemo, sure, you're forgetful and you got brain fog, but, you got to figure it out. That's kind of how the Social Security Administration views disability. And so I was like,
figure it out.
I have to figure it out for sure. Yeah, I got to figure it out. And I tried. So they stopped my health insurance. And I was like, oh gosh, so let me do this. So let me just try to do all of my screening because after a bone marrow transplant, you are very likely to get a secondary cancer. So skin cancers, colon cancer, just anywhere, anytime. So I have to be vigilant about preventative care. So you need what? Access to health care to be able to do that. So I went to do my mammogram because that was the quickest test that I could get in, and I didn't get off the campus because they were calling me back. They saw the disease on the mammogram. So I have just this July completed my last surgery for that and the chemo that I went through. But I literally, from February of 2023 to November of 2023, had to appeal and fight to get my health insurance back because I fell into the coverage gap again. Without having an income, I wasn't eligible for the Affordable Care Act because there was nothing to assess tax credits against. So it really is a problem. And just imagine from February until November, the disease had already started to spread. And if I didn't have access to care, if my providers refused to treat me because I didn't have health insurance, I doubt that I would be sitting here as healthy as I am speaking to you today.
That's beautiful. Yes, So what's next? Yeah. What's next for you in your advocacy journey, though, Val?
Okay. Well, right now we have to get these Affordable Care Act tax credits extended. That is really full on what I'm putting most of my energy toward. And thank you again so much, Sharon and Sharon, for giving me this platform to be able to share with your listeners. And I really hope that they do decide to reach out to their lawmakers at the state level, at the federal level. People think like, oh, well, it's not really that important. They don't listen. Actually, they do. They actually keep logs of phone calls and emails and visits, letters, because your voice determines whether or not they have a job. Right. So if you are their constituent, they most certainly want to hear from you. And they really want to know what they can do to earn your vote.
And you said constituent because we are in an election season right now. Mm-hmm. And with that in mind, we're asking you look over there in that camera and let the folks know that voting, for those who don't vote or vote the incorrect way, yes, I said that, right? You have to make sure that your vote matters. Yeah. It does, but make sure it counts.
Yes.
So just speak to them because they need to hear. Because I've spoken to people who say, they're all the same. They don't listen to me. They don't care about us.
Yes. Well, your vote is your voice. And I will say to you, like Blood Cancer United, we are a nonpartisan organization. We're a nonprofit. So we don't donate to candidates. We don't advocate one party over the other. We will work with whoever is going to get the legislation over the finish line. Of course. And what our jobs are as citizens is to use our vote. It is to vote. It is to show up. It is to call your legislative representatives. Senator Jackson is, it was amazing. After I had survived the leukemia and I went back to the Capitol while I was actually in chemotherapy for the breast cancer. And it's amazing that she remembered me. And the reason that she remembered me was she just couldn't imagine how in God's green earth, a person could have terminal cancer and have no way to turn, to be totally out of options. A person who pays taxes, So she remembered me. Of course. And literally when I walked into her office, she was like, Valerie, how are you doing? How's the breast cancer? You could have knocked me over with a feather. And this is a woman who, is at the state capitol and speaks to hundreds, sure, thousands of people. Yeah. But that's the impact that you can make. You can log on to the state website, plug in your zip code, and it will pull up your congressional district and who your state senator is. Get to know them. They have newsletters. Yeah. You can look up their voting record, and you can have conversations with them, and you can say,
you
hey,
can go
this
to the Capitol.
Of course.
And actually without an appointment.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been there many a time.
Yeah, so people really
there's
need
no
to use their
excuse.
voice that way. Absolutely. And going to the Capitol is an experience. And
it is.
They're friendlier than you would really think.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to ask you before we leave, Val.
Sure.
How do you balance your healing with continuing to advocate for others? I mean, because your healing journey is just amazing, and you continue to work with others. So I'm just, is there some kind of secret sauce that you're taking?
Yes, it's called hope. And that is true. I had a quick little story. When I went to the Capitol the last time, we were advocating the initiative. It was about not passing this big, beautiful bill. And I had decided I was still in chemo. I was sick. I was tired. I was fatigued. And I don't think I had hair. So I was just beat down. And I had decided I'm not going. It doesn't work. They're not listening. And these people, they have a different heart condition. That's what my mind had told me for about 2 seconds. And then I started to remember a story that I had read about 3 little frogs. And the 3 little frogs are walking along, and they're hopping along. They fall into this huge hole. And the rest of the animals and other folks are up at the top of the hole, and they're looking down at them, and they're like, oh, my God, your goose is cooked. You're not going to get out. You're going to die. And the frogs are like, no, we're not. So they're jumping, and they're jumping and jumping, the first frog. And after a while, he gets tired, and he lays down. And he says, it's no use. I'm going to die. He lays down, he dies. So the second frog sees that, and he's like, holy cow, he's like, he died. So he's jumping harder. He's trying to get out. And he jumps, and the people are naysayers from up top are like, don't you see your friend? Like, cut it out. There's no hope. Just give up. Lay down and die. And after a while, he just tired himself out, and he laid down. He says, yeah, it's no hope. I'm just going to die. He lays down, he dies. The whole time this is going on, the third little frog never stopped jumping. He's jumping. That last jump, he pulls all of his strength, and boom, he hits the surface. And everybody is like, wow. What do you think was so different about that third little frog?
He was Val.
Did not give up.
He never gave up. He
Val.
decided, he was like, I'm going to fight the heck out of it.
Give up.
I love it.
Yes.
Well, you know what was his situation? He was deaf. So he couldn't hear the naysayers.
So he was, everything was tuned out for him automatically. Exactly. I love it.
Exactly.
So tell the folks how they can get together with you. How can they join your advocacy? Because,
sure.
We need more right now as it stands. It's September 30th. In a few hours, 4 hours from now, it will be October.
Yes.
And guess what?
Yeah. The new premium
D-Day. It's D-Day.
October 1st. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Well, if you'd like to join our advocacy group, you certainly can. Bloodcancerunited.org, and there is a link there for if you'd like to sign up to become an advocate, you can do that. Or my email address is vtaylor, GA-advocate@gmail.com, and feel free to reach out to me. I read my email, and I'll be happy to talk to you. And thank you so much.
We thank you so much for sharing your story. Mm-hmm. And, honestly, there are people watching right now, share this. We need you to reach out because we don't know what's around the corner for any of us. You didn't plan that. We don't know this. It just happens. Diseases don't discriminate. They don't. Yeah. They're in all of our families, unfortunately. So we thank you.
Yeah. And Sharon, I thank you both. And I just wanted to share a quote with you that a cancer survivor had shared with us. Kenny, in North Carolina, I had an opportunity to meet him. And he was in a similar situation to me in North Carolina before they expanded Medicaid. And his quote was, when you get sick, you're not rich, health insurance is absolutely essential. It doesn't just make life easier, it makes life possible.
Wow.
And I think that's a wonderful note to close, because I was going to ask you what's the message for the listeners.
Of course. That was the message. Of course.
Exactly.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing your stories with us. It really touched my heart. I'm sure it touched our viewers' hearts, our listeners' hearts as well. And it really just solidifies how important advocacy is, how important it is to stand up for your health. And don't be afraid to ask the questions. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and make those calls. Thank you again, Valerie
Thank
Green.
you.
I hope you all can get in touch with her. So as we close off, we want to say how much we appreciate APAT Media for sponsoring this show, and to thank you. And a big thank you to Heart Love Inc., specializing in guiding clients through relationship drama and emotional trauma. And you can contact them at heal.me/theheartlady. And we also see Michelle, one of our other followers, who says great message and powerful testimony. Absolutely.
She's a huge supporter of Speak Harmony. We
Yes.
appreciate you, Michelle.
So
I mean, gosh.
we thank you all for tuning in to Speak Harmony, building unity one voice at a time. Join us next Tuesday right here live on YouTube, 7 to 8 Eastern Time, as we continue learning from our leaders and those who inspire us through action, purpose. Until then, keep speaking harmony.
Like, subscribe, share, and share again. We want you to come back next week. Same time, same place. We love you. Appreciate you. Wow.
Meetings of the mind, where wisdom is shared. Tamara and Sharon, a duo prepared to light up the path, to bridge every gap. Access meets opportunity.